Hello beautiful people, how are you? Welcome to Fearless Minds YouTube channel. Let's get started. Do you remember the last time you felt anxious or scared that you were alone? But you're not, even if it may feel like it. The National Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI, reports a rough patch. It's a sign of something much deeper. This video talks about 10 mental health symptoms you shouldn't ignore. Before we begin, we need to warn you that this video may be triggering, so if you feel, please exit it. With that being said, let's talk about 10 mental health symptoms you should not ignore. Number 1. You're having feelings of sadness or depression that last longer than 2 weeks. All people experience sadness at one time or another. However, most normal feelings of sadness get better with time. Well, it's reported that there is abnormally intense sadness lasting 2 weeks could be a sign of depression. You might not be able to snap out of it, or the sadness is heavier than normal, then that should be taken seriously. You're having extreme mood swings and don't know why. And you find out that your mood seems to switch super quickly or randomly at times. Well, they studied that an average person's mood shift on a given day is few. Well, according to the National Center of Biotechnology, the study showed that people tend to experience positive emotions such as joy or love more often than negative ones. It's totally normal for someone for their emotions to change daily. However, they also say that if your behavior and energy is too dramatic, or you're having too many dramatic mood swings, then that can be a sign of bipolar disorder. Well, you should know all the red flags if you're experiencing sadness, anger, or feelings of excessive euphoria for most of the day, especially if it has nothing to do with what's going on in your life. Number 3. Your worry and anxiety have gotten out of control. Have you ever found that yourself worrying but cannot shut it off? According to National Institute for Mental Health, it may be a sign of anxiety disorder. Other signs of anxiety disorder include having problems like relaxing, insomnia, or racing thoughts. Well, anxiousness can be beyond your grasp, right? Or you're suffering through a lot of pains and aches. Moreover, you're being easily irritated. So the Association of America suggests that if you're ever feeling this way for most of the days or at least 6 months, you should consider talking to a mental health professional about your symptoms. Well, next sign is you want to be left alone. Maybe you're making excuses to avoid socializing, such as you're avoiding people to events that you used to enjoy. This can be a sign of mental illness, depression, anxiety, or a psychotic disorder. You may have noticed you're behaving very off. Maybe you're texting and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I won't be able to come," right? But just know that your friends are there for you. My next point is you're having too many imaginations or delusions. Well, it is described that these two aspects are of psychosis, and in a sense that you have a perception or belief that creates a lot of urgency in the person experiencing it. Despite evidence that perception or belief isn't real, the National Alliance on Mental Illness reports up to 100,000 people in the US experiencing it every year. Further stated that about out of 100 people, there are 3 people who suffer from psychosis. You might be suffering through schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. Number 6, you're having more and more difficulty dealing with normal life situations. Have you ever gone through a time in your life that nothing seemed to go right and you couldn't deal? Maybe you keep forgetting. It might just be a rough patch and you deeply hurt. Well, it may be a sign of depression or anxiety. Another major sign is that you're experiencing more than just a rough patch is when you have a hard time sleeping. Maybe you're sleeping too little or too much. 10 to 18% of general population has problems sleeping. However, Harvard Med School states that either sleeping too much or too little is common who suffer from mental illness. 50% of people live with ADHD, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, suffer from insomnia or hyperinsomnia. Maybe you're using drugs or alcohol. Well, the government says that 1 in 4 or 25% of people who live with the symptom of mental illness use alcohol or drugs to self-medicate things like anger, anxiety, or mania. Experts believe that individuals who suffer from depression, anxiety disorder, personality disorder, or schizophrenia are likely to use drugs and alcohol as a coping mechanism, and people diagnosed with other mental illness as well. So, it would be really good idea to talk to a professional or your friends or with a community of like-minded people. Next, number 9. You're having extreme anger outbursts. Do you ever feel like that it's impossible to control or you're way too much into the situation? If so, your anger may be warning you about your stress level or your unresolved grief or your anxiety. While it is reported that extreme anger can be a sign of unresolved trauma, bipolar disorder, alcohol abuse, obsessive compulsive disorder, or depression. If you wonder if your anger is healthy, experts recommend first recognizing your physical and emotional signs of anger, and when you start thinking of self-harm or suicide, then you should get professional help. It is said that 10% of people under the age of 30 go through self-harm or suicide. There are many reasons for people to consider self-harm. About 90% of people who have completed or committed suicide suffer from severe mental illness. Well, if you can relate to any of this, do like and subscribe. And thank you for watching. As always, these information provided here is only for educational purposes. If you need counseling or treatment, please contact any agency or a mental health professional for professional help. And don't forget to follow our Instagram account, Fearless Minds.